Hello and welcome to the next webinar from us. This time we're talking about preparing for the future, Windows 10 support ending in 2025. Today I've got Troy, who's our Digital Technology Manager, joining me. So I've got a list of questions that I'll be asking Troy. But during the webinar, please ask any questions in the chat and we'll get to those and answer those as we go along. At the end of the webinar, we're also going to share a QR code which will link you to a form, a bit of a survey from us, and just a way for us to know what you want us to talk about next time. So, to start off, why is Windows 10 ending support?
Thanks, Rich. So, yeah, Microsoft has long had a policy of 10 years of support for every operating system and large piece of software. Microsoft released Windows 10 in 2015, so that's coming up 10-year anniversary very shortly. Once it does end, Microsoft will no longer be providing updates, including the most important security updates. We expect attackers to be stockpiling exploits as we speak for use after this period. It's also important that machines that do run past this date aren't reused. They can't be upgraded.
So don't take your old Windows 10 machine and start using it at home.
No, it's definitely no good for use at home, particularly around if you do any kind of important transactions on there.
Okay, so what's the actual date that they're stopping support?
October 2025. I believe it's October the 10th.
Great. And so this is interesting. I heard the stat the other day. So why should we update now rather than wait till October? So in New Zealand, the stat is that 54% of devices won't be able to upgrade to Windows 11. Mostly they're in government departments and so on, but that equates to 600,000 PCs in New Zealand alone, let alone this is a global problem for the whole world. So definitely want to take action shortly. So how long has Windows 11 been out?
Windows 11 came out in 2021, so we've had 3 years to mature that operating system. It's stable, and ultimately it's a minor upgrade to Windows 10. It's got a bit of new functionality and it's got a facelift, but ultimately it's Windows 10 at heart.
So we're not seeing issues like we saw when Windows 11 first came out?
No, we're not seeing the issues then, and it's not as drastic a change as it was from Windows 7 to Windows 10.
Right. So can you extend the support of Windows 10 beyond October next year?
Microsoft has recently announced an extended support program. That's only going to be available for very limited times. It's an additional cost, and it really only covers the most critical security updates. At this time, we don't recommend the service.
Okay, sounds good. Now, what's changing between Windows 10 and Windows 11? What will people see?
A lot of the interface is much the same. There's the new settings panel, and that are all mostly the same. There's been some slight tweaks to both the taskbar and the start menu. The taskbar is now centered from your view, but ultimately works much the same. There's a bit of a preview of it on the screen there.
Okay.
Search is your friend with Windows 11, as it was mostly with Windows 10. It's easy to type what you're looking for rather than navigating the menus to try and find it.
Mm-hmm. If you don't like the taskbar in the middle,
you can change it.
So you can stick it on the left. So yep. That's good. Can all machines be upgraded to Windows 11?
Windows 11 does have higher hardware requirements, mostly around security. There's encryption enabled out of the box. It also only supports some of the newer generation processors, but we're finding generally machines released within the last 5 years are generally compatible. However, we do estimate internally we have about 25% of the machines out there in the workforce for Yorb are not compatible.
Gotcha. So I know back a number of years we started recommending a minimum spec of 16 gig of RAM for devices. Is that still the same with Windows 11, or should people start now looking at more 32 being the minimum?
I think we're right on the edge of that. I think 32 is going to really start to become the normal minimum, especially word processors and browsers are some of the most intensive tasks that computers do now.
Yep. So how do we check if our machine can upgrade to Windows
11? You can go on the Microsoft website or talk to us.
Okay. Now, I see in Windows 10 and Windows 11, there's a Copilot icon. Everybody will start seeing this pop up everywhere. So what's that actually mean?
The Copilot icon is access to Microsoft's Copilot. It's their take on generative AI. It's somewhat loosely based on the ChatGPT we know. It is a little bit more watered down for the business spec, but it's important if you do use these built-in AI tools that you do check your corporation's policy using AI tools.
Perfect. So we've got an offering here at Yorb doing a managed upgrade to Windows 11. So talk to me about that versus people doing the upgrade themselves.
With our curated upgrade program, we'll make sure that you machine all the prerequisites. We'll make sure there's no potential compatibility issues before it. We are seeing a reasonably high failure rate where machines either won't upgrade or are failing past an upgrade. With our program, we'll take care of all of that and do it at the time that suits the business.
Great. Are there any applications that won't work, that do work on Windows 10 but won't work on Windows 11?
Generally not. So with Windows 11 being a reasonably minor upgrade to Windows 10, effectively all applications that worked on 10 should work on 11. Not all software vendors have necessarily certified their applications to run on 11 specifically though. So it may be worthwhile checking with your software vendor to make sure that they're going to support your software if you do upgrade.
Great. What about hardware? So is hardware compatibility going to be an issue?
So outside of the new system requirements, no, hardware compatibility shouldn't be an issue. There are, however, a new range of computers under the Copilot Plus PC moniker that are using new chipsets from Snapdragon. These aren't using your traditional Intel and AMD chips that we're all used to. And they are introducing hardware compatibility, particularly with things like printers that we've seen lately. We don't recommend upgrading to these machines at this time until we understand these a bit more. They're very new to the market in the last year. They're a bit more of a response to Apple's new chips.
Yep. Are there any new features in Windows 11 that's worth discussing?
The AI features are a good one, and then security. So around security, there's a little bit more security out of the box. By default, it's going to do some hard drive encryption. The AI features are exciting. If your corporate policy allows it, that Copilot can plug right into all of your work data and help you perform tasks on your machine.
Okay. I do have a question here from Adam. So a majority of the PCs I have, either personally or professionally, the Windows cannot be upgraded due to the processing chip. Can this be upgraded to allow for Windows 11 to be upgraded on each PC, as well as any other options such as RAM, etc.? So Adam, are you talking about maybe changing the chip out of the PC itself? Because I guess...
Yeah, so the generational differences between processors are also generational differences between the other hardware and the device itself. So in general, no, you wouldn't be able to upgrade that machine to a newer generation to enable Windows 11.
Yeah, so sometimes when with the chip itself, you would need to change the whole motherboard as well to work with the newer generation chips.
Exactly that. Yeah. So it's generally only economical to upgrade the machine.
Yeah, yep. So I guess the other consideration going back to the hardware is just needing to do it now because as you can imagine, the price of hardware won't be as cheap as it is today. And if the whole world is trying to purchase hardware, then we may just see a lot of constraints about what's available at the time. So definitely worth considering that now. So that's it. It was a bit of a short webinar today, but if anybody else has any other comments, please either pop them in the chat or feel free to send those through on the form.
Just one more from Adam there. He wants to know what he can do with his older PCs. Unfortunately, they really can't be used in a business environment. Again, we don't recommend using them at home, particularly if you're doing any kind of internet banking. There's probably a number of places that you can donate them for reuse. Otherwise, they need to be disposed of sustainably.
The other option is essentially unplugging it from the internet.
Yeah.
So isolating it.
Yeah, if it's not used on the internet, it could be used at home for kids to play games or something like that.
Oh, yeah. So still a possible use, but not a lot there. Great. So thanks everybody for taking the time to jump on this webinar. As I mentioned, we've got a survey form. You can either scan the QR code or follow up with an email as well. So in there, please let us know what else you would like to hear about in the future. We've got lots of topics that we can talk about, but just want to understand which ones are important to you. And that's it from us. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.